These towering opponents thought their size could intimidate Canelo Alvarez, but that was their first mistake. Against giants, the Mexican superstar proved again and again that precision, will, and brilliance eclipse brute strength. The body shots, the counters, and the relentless pressure served as a constant reminder that Canelo was not just a fighter but a tactician who demolished opponents who thought their height and reach could save them. What followed were the nights when he broke these men down one by one, from Daniel Jacobs to Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Rocky Fielding, Sergey Kovalev, and Avni Yildirim. On May 4, 2019, Canelo Alvarez, already boxing's biggest star, walked into Madison Square Garden to face Daniel Jacobs in a unification bout for the IBF, WBA, and WBC middleweight titles. Jacobs, the proud Brooklyn native known as the Miracle Man, was confident he could dethrone Canelo. The build-up was heated. Jacobs mocked Canelo's physique and claimed he would silence the crowd with his fists. At the weigh-in, the two men clashed head-to-head, and Jacobs promised he would back up his talk in the ring. For Jacobs, this was the defining opportunity of his career. For Canelo, it was just another step toward supremacy. When the fight began, Jacobs used his jab to maintain distance, but Canelo's timing and movement immediately took control. Jacobs was taller and longer, yet Canelo slipped punches, countered beautifully, and attacked the body early. The energy in the garden was electric as both men traded blows in tight exchanges. Jacobs landed a few right hands, but Canelo's defense, subtle head movement and perfect counters neutralized his opponent's size. As the rounds went on, Canelo's composure contrasted sharply with Jacobs' growing frustration. Jacobs tried to press forward but found himself unable to land cleanly. Canelo, compact and efficient, fired precise combinations and forced Jacobs to fight on the back foot. By the championship rounds, Jacobs was still dangerous but fading. Canelo's body shots, sharp hooks, and uppercuts drained the bigger man's energy. When the final bell rang, all three judges awarded the fight to Alvarez by unanimous decision. Jacobs had fought bravely but was outclassed. Canelo left New York with another belt and another reminder to the boxing world that his mastery was not limited by size or style. 2 years later, on May 8, 2021, Canelo entered the home of the Dallas Cowboys to face Billy Joe Saunders in front of 70,000 roaring fans. At that time, Canelo was the sport's undisputed #1 fighter and was on a mission to collect every super middleweight belt. The undefeated Saunders, holding the WBO title, was the final piece. But what made this bout more intense was the arrogance of Saunders and his camp. His father and new trainer, Tyson Fury, mocked Canelo in the press, calling him overrated and promising an easy night for the Briton. At the opening bell, Saunders' slick southpaw style and quick jab gave him early confidence. He moved well, landed sharp counters, and even managed to frustrate Canelo briefly. But beneath Canelo's calm expression was a calculated plan. The Mexican champion began cutting off the ring, targeting the body, and forcing Saunders to fight in uncomfortable positions. Canelo's power difference was immediately evident. Every shot he landed drew gasps from the crowd. Saunders relied on movement and combinations, yet his punches lacked impact. As the fight progressed, Canelo adjusted his rhythm. He feinted, drew reactions, and timed Saunders perfectly with counters to the head and body. By the middle rounds, Saunders' flashy style began to unravel under Canelo's pressure. Then came the turning point, a devastating uppercut from Canelo that shattered Saunders' orbital bone. Saunders staggered back to his corner, unable to continue. The fight was waved off, and Canelo raised his arms to the thunderous applause of tens of thousands. Saunders, once boastful, retired soon after, his confidence broken and his body battered. Canelo's march toward undisputed glory continued against another British fighter, Callum Smith. On December 19, 2020, Canelo faced the towering 6'3" champion who held the WBA title and was widely considered the best super middleweight in the world. Smith had dominated the World Boxing Super Series, defeating George Groves to establish himself as the division's elite. Analysts pointed to his height and reach as major advantages over Canelo, who stood at just 5'8". From the opening bell, Smith tried to keep Canelo away with his long jab. But within minutes, Canelo was closing the distance effortlessly. His head movement, footwork, and defense allowed him to slip under Smith's jab and unleash hooks to the body and head. Smith's combinations were cautious. His punches lacked the authority to halt the relentless advance. Canelo's shots, by contrast, echoed through the arena. Each body punch seemed to chip away at the giant's strength. By the fifth round, Smith's face was marked, and his rhythm disrupted. He attempted to trade uppercuts, but Canelo walked through them, unshaken. The difference in power and accuracy was stark. Round after round, Canelo punished Smith to the body, forcing him backward, something no one had ever done. By the championship rounds, Smith's left arm hung limp from a detached bicep, a testament to the punishment he had absorbed. When the final bell sounded, Canelo was declared the winner by unanimous decision, becoming a four-division world champion. The victory established him as the undisputed king at 168 pounds. Before Smith, Canelo had already given the world a masterclass in destruction when he faced Rocky Fielding on December 15, 2018. Moving up 2 weight classes, Canelo sought to prove his power carried into the super middleweight division. Fielding, standing tall at 6'1", was confident he could use his reach to keep Canelo at bay. But from the moment the bell rang, the difference in skill was glaring. Canelo immediately targeted Fielding's body with merciless precision. Within minutes, a left hook to the liver sent the British champion to a knee. The crowd at Madison Square Garden gasped as Fielding grimaced in pain. He rose, but Canelo stalked him relentlessly, throwing combinations that mixed head and body shots in perfect rhythm. Every time Fielding tried to punch back, Canelo countered with ruthless efficiency. A second knockdown followed, again from a body shot. Fielding looked to his corner in disbelief. By the third knockdown, it was clear the fight was over. A final left hook to the body folded Fielding in half, and the referee waved it off. Canelo had claimed another title with surgical brutality. It was less a boxing match than a demolition, a smaller man tearing down a skyscraper from its foundation. In November 2019, Canelo sought an even greater challenge, moving up to light heavyweight to face Sergey "Crusher" Kovalev. Kovalev, a natural 175-pounder and former world champion, was known for his devastating jab and knockout power. Despite being the bigger man, he had just gone through a grueling fight against Anthony Yarde 3 months earlier. Many believed Canelo was biting off more than he could chew. The early rounds reflected Kovalev's experience and size advantage. Using his long jab, he kept Canelo at a distance and scored points with quick combinations. Canelo, shorter and lighter, bided his time, reading his opponent's rhythm. Round after round, he slipped punches and invested in body shots. Though Kovalev's volume seemed to earn him the lead on scorecards, his punches lacked sting. Canelo's defense, patience, and accuracy began to tell. By the 10th round, Canelo's intensity rose. He feinted, drew Kovalev's jab, and exploded with a left hook followed by a crushing right hand. Kovalev's body stiffened as he fell backward into the ropes, nearly unconscious before hitting the canvas. The referee waved it off immediately. In one moment, Canelo had conquered another weight class and silenced those who doubted his power at light heavyweight. It was a knockout so sudden and perfect that it seemed choreographed, Canelo's genius distilled into a single sequence. Next came Avni Yildirim, the Turkish challenger and mandatory contender for Canelo's titles at super middleweight. The bout, held in February 2021, was expected to be a routine defense, but the tension remained high. Yildirim, built like a tank, was known for strength and aggression. Yet when the fight began, he appeared frozen by Canelo's presence. Behind a high guard, he barely threw a punch as Canelo worked methodically. From the opening minute, Canelo landed uppercuts and hooks that split Yildirim's defense. His combinations to the body thudded like gunfire. The crowd winced at each connection. Yildirim absorbed the punishment but refused to retaliate. In the third round, Canelo landed a blistering right hand that sent the challenger sprawling to the canvas. Though he stood up, the fight was effectively over. Canelo unleashed a barrage of punches that left Yildirim dazed and hesitant. After the third round, Yildirim's corner ended the fight, unwilling to let their man take further damage. Canelo had once again dismantled a larger, stronger opponent through speed, skill, and precision. Throughout these encounters, one pattern defined Canelo's success: his mastery of distance and body punching. Against taller fighters, he used a high guard to disguise his entries, walking them down patiently until they had nowhere to move. Once in range, he dug vicious hooks into the body, draining their energy before targeting the head. His defense, built on subtle slips and upper body movement, allowed him to stand in front of much bigger men without taking clean shots. Canelo's transformation from a young slugger into a complete craftsman was evident in every performance. Against Jacobs, he showcased tactical discipline; against Saunders, brutal precision; against Smith and Fielding, relentless pressure; and against Kovalev, intelligent timing. Even when outsized or outreached, he dictated the pace, forcing giants to fight his fight. Each opponent brought confidence and bravado before stepping into the ring. Jacobs believed his athleticism and resilience would break Canelo. Saunders mocked him publicly, relying on slick movement and arrogance. Smith trusted his size, Fielding his reach, Kovalev his experience, and Yildirim his strength. None succeeded. Canelo's methodical breakdown of these men revealed the essence of his greatness. He could read opponents like open books, adapting round by round until their confidence dissolved. Beyond physical ability, what separated Canelo was his composure. He never allowed emotion to dictate his performance. When opponents taunted him or tried to bully him physically, he simply smiled. In the ring, that calm turned into focus, his punches deliberate, his pressure suffocating. Opponents often began with bold plans but found themselves reacting instead of executing. The body shots, in particular, became his signature. Few fighters in modern boxing have weaponized the liver punch like Canelo. His hooks landed with surgical precision, often ending fights not through flashy knockouts but through invisible pain. Rocky Fielding, Callum Smith, and Yildirim all fell victim to that same strike, a perfectly timed left hook that collapsed their resistance. Even in decision victories, Canelo's control was absolute. Against Jacobs and Smith, the scorecards were a formality. He had dominated the rhythm, the exchanges, and the narrative of the fight. Against Saunders and Kovalev, he delivered definitive endings that removed all debate. Each fight furthered his evolution from a young contender into one of the most complete fighters of the 21st century. Canelo's rise also symbolized something greater: a Mexican warrior redefining his nation's boxing identity. Traditional Mexican fighters were known for relentless aggression and pressure. Canelo maintained that spirit but merged it with refined defense and counterpunching, a hybrid of Mexican heart and modern technique. His ability to stand before giants, deflect their attacks, and dismantle them piece by piece reflected both art and discipline. As his career advanced, Canelo fought more frequently than any other elite champion. He took risks, jumping between weight classes, facing taller champions, and unifying divisions others avoided. His relentless pursuit of greatness came with criticism from doubters, but each fight silenced another set of skeptics. By 2021, he had captured titles in 4 divisions and unified the entire super middleweight class. Looking back, those who once believed Canelo could be intimidated by larger opponents were proven wrong time and again. Against Jacobs, he outboxed a technical master. Against Saunders, he shattered arrogance. Against Smith and Fielding, he destroyed height advantages. Against Kovalev, he conquered the weight barrier. And against Yildirim, he ended the fight so decisively that his opponent refused to continue. The blueprint remained the same: patience, precision, and punishment. Canelo hit his jab within a tight guard, stepping forward inch by inch until his opponent had nowhere to go. Then came the hooks, first to the ribs, then to the liver, then to the chin. His timing was impeccable, his accuracy unmatched. Those who faced him described the sensation of being trapped, of having every move anticipated before they could make it. What made these victories unforgettable was not only their outcome but also the manner in which they unfolded. Canelo never relied on luck or desperation. He dismantled his opponents systematically, leaving them broken both physically and mentally. Each giant he faced underestimated him, mistaking his height for weakness and his calm for fear. In reality, it was calculation, the stillness before the storm. By the end of each fight, the same scene repeated: Canelo, arms raised, surrounded by roaring fans, while his opponent stared blankly, wondering how everything had fallen apart so quickly. It wasn't just his power or his defense that destroyed them, it was the realization that they had never truly been in control. Through these battles, Canelo Alvarez cemented himself as one of the greatest fighters of his era. His legacy is not merely built on titles or knockouts, but on the art of adaptation, the ability to conquer any style, any size, any ego. From Madison Square Garden to AT&T Stadium, from middleweight to light heavyweight, he proved that greatness isn't measured in inches or pounds, but in mastery. Those cocky giants learned the hard way that intimidation means nothing to a man who thrives under pressure. Canelo's fists told the truth each time. Power doesn't come from size, it comes from skill, discipline, and unbreakable will. Against every towering opponent, he showed the same lesson: the smaller man can be the mightiest when his craft is flawless. These were the nights when Saul Canelo Alvarez transformed from champion to legend, leaving behind a trail of fallen giants who thought they could bully him with reach and height. They all found the same ending on the canvas or in silence, realizing too late that against Canelo, arrogance is a fatal mistake.